WGSN-DB Going Solo Network welcomes you to award-nominated relationship internet radio talk show, Going Solo with Cece. Host Cece Schatz is a speaker, author, blogger, and the leading transitional divorce and dating coach with My Friends Connect and Going Solo Next Step. Now, together, let's join Cece.
Well, hello there. This is Cece with Going Solo, and yes, there is life after divorce, and we have with us a fantastic lady, and she's going to be helping us through divorce, and she is a divorce mediator. She's from Carlsbad, California, and her name is Laura McGee. Hello, welcome to the show.
Hi, Cece. It's my pleasure to be here today.
That's wonderful to have you. When I reached out to talk to you, I was just so amazed at the work that you've done. And so tell me a little bit how you got into this path of helping people through divorce and going through as a mediator.
Yes, well, I think like so many of us in life, the path finds us in certain ways. I was a trial lawyer in Canada for 20 years, and I actually left my practice and moved to California with my husband, who became my ex-husband. And I moved here because I had a stepdaughter here, and we were parenting long distance with her and wanted to bring our two children and her together for rejoin the family, connect the family. And of course, I hoped past hope that somehow it was just geography and rain or all these other things that perhaps the problem with my marriage and this would just magically fix it. But of course, it didn't work out that way. So I had gone from retiring, shall we say, as a trial attorney, thinking that I was now going to just spend my time and focus raising my children, to deciding how I would reinvent myself. And my whole cause arose out of my own long, costly, litigated, high conflict, unnecessarily so, divorce here in the California system. And having experienced a broken system and having seen the torment to my children, my own, I just thought I do have to return to work, and what a better thing to do than help people not do things the way I ended up doing it.
Yeah, I love very much what you're doing, and you have your website is Leave Strong Divorce Services, and I love that so much because I do feel that once we get through the actual process of divorce and mediation, I think is a real key, a real hot topic for me. And I want to get the word out more about mediation because I do feel that can change the view and the look of divorce. So I love what you do. But I also like that the fact that you've gone into and doing divorce coaching too, because I do feel that once we can get through the emotions, the mechanics of the actual divorce, and then living our best life and trying to, like you said, redefine yourself, redefine your skills, redefine, just really look at your whole life on a whole to see what path you want to take. And I love that Leave Strong Divorce. I think that is really what we do want to encourage, and you are an inspiration, most certainly.
Thank you. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about mediation so people can understand what your view is on mediation itself.
There's myths out there that you have to be friends with your spouse to mediate, that you can't, people think, I can't do that. You can't get along on anything. We have a lot of conflict. And when I have the opportunity, I get to tell people that only 1% of divorce cases ever go to trial, which means there's virtually always some kind of a negotiated agreement. And that's what a mediation is. It's a facilitated negotiation. So the reality is virtually everyone can mediate. They just need the right mediator and the right support system around them to help facilitate that process.
You save a whole lot of money if you can look at divorce differently. And I've often said, I have a local divorce support group here, and I've often said, when it comes down to the end of the day, if you're filing for divorce, 9 chances out of 10, you're going to be divorced. So how do you want to look at that, and how do you want to end up? Try to work it out as far as getting the assets and the debt divided and moving forward as quickly as you can.
Well, there's so many advantages to mediating. First of all, it keeps things much more private. It's faster, so the stress that people go through during divorce, which often leads sleeping pills and antidepressants and pain treatments. I mean, the physical toll a litigated divorce takes on a person is really a hidden cost to most people. The financial reality, the average mediated divorce, at least here in Southern California, is around $7,500. the average litigated divorce here in Southern California, and that's just the average that lawyers are willing to fess up to, shall we say, is about maybe $75,000. I've had clients come to me that have spent $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 as a couple on their divorce, and only now coming to mediation because it's still not resolved. You can't recover financially from those kinds of expenses. Nobody has a divorce account sitting nearby. You're stealing from yourself when you just use your own resources to argue. So yeah, the cost difference is phenomenal. And then the opportunity to keep your children out of the middle and have a far more robust parenting plan, because if you have children, you really want to take a mediator and or use a parenting coach who can help you to build something far more robust than the court can ever do. The court's focused on keeping children safe, building a schedule, and creating a payment plan. Whereas if you're parents, you want to think about, should we still have a college fund? What are we going to do to save up for Jenny's wedding? What about when should they drive? I want to be introduced to your new partner first. You can be so much more creative, and you can really think like parents instead of like a judge. It's very limiting.
Right, because really at the end of the day, you're still going to be parents.
Exactly, yeah. Just age 18, not just age 18. You can be parents ideally for the rest of your lives.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you want the story to go? And how do you want that to go?
Absolutely. When you do it like this, you have more of a control, don't you? You feel as you're going through the divorce process when you're in litigation and there's so much turmoil and all of that going on. I feel personally that you're out of control. You feel like you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what to expect. But mediation kind of segments it out a little bit for you, and you feel like you have a little bit more of a part in the decision-making of what's happening.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I think that's like a remarkable difference between the mediation process where you are personally actually negotiating the terms of how you want this to go. So you vest, you really dig in and do your homework, and ideally if you need someone to support you on how to make proposals, you get that support. So you are not only in control, there's this incredible catharsis that happens because people feel sometimes they receive an apology they never expected to get. Sometimes they just feel understood for the first time. Sometimes they just feel heard, period, and that's something that wasn't going on. And what they know is that individuals who mediate their agreements, particularly around children, that the likelihood that the parents are going to stick to those deals, be compliant, actually live up to their parenting obligations, is as high as some studies as 85%. Whereas people that just go to court and a judge tells them what to do and they don't agree with it and didn't want it to go that way anyway, it's about 23 to 28% compliance.
Let me ask you, though, how do you pick a mediator? I mean, are you able to do that, choose a mediator?
Yes, that's another nice thing. You don't get to pick your judge. You get who you're assigned, right? And you don't always know very much even about the background of a judge. And even if you do, who cares? Because that's your judge. Whereas a mediator, ideally what you would do is as a couple, you'd interview mediators. I always tell people the best place to start looking for a mediator is with your therapist if you're using one, because the therapists are working with people on making this decision, and they start to learn who comes back into their office in a confidential environment is who's having a successful experience and what kind of experience they're having. They hear the inside scoop. And we tend to be kind of lone wolf mediators. We tend to work on our own. And so even when someone says, can you refer me to, they might come to me for coaching and they're like, can you refer me to a mediator? Well, I don't necessarily hear from that client what all the feedback is. So using people like therapists, maybe other mediators or coaches, and people that have a relationship with mediators, and then you want to research kind of what are my needs set. Are you in the midst of a gray divorce where your kids are raised, but you've got a really delicate distribution of assets that could both wipe you both out, and now you need somebody who's really savvy on the financial end and knows the right financial people? Do you need someone who really focuses on your parenting plan and coaches and supports that process as an aspect of the mediation? You just need the Do you need the closer? There's types of mediators out there that we call closer mediators. They're usually retired judges, and they're virtually working like an arbitrator. They're going to say, look, here's how it's going to go, baby. And you can go to court if you want, but I'm telling you, I've been a judge, and here's what's likely to happen. So there's an enormous range within the field of mediation. So identify first what are your needs, who knows best, the types of mediators out there, and interview them together. Find a match for you that's going to be able to work with you.
That's great advice, and thank you so much for sharing that with us. You are an attorney, so you have a lot of legal information that you have stored within you, and then you have the mediation aspect of it, which is very different. Then you are also a divorce coach. Now tell us a little bit about when you put the divorce coach hat on. How is that for you?
So let me just start by just clarifying, even though I'm trained as a lawyer and historically being a lawyer, that's been my longest career path to date, I don't have a license to practice law here in California, and I don't need one to mediate. So that's sort of a myth that's out there that you have to have a lawyer mediator. And ironically, I think they're very different roles. I also have about 300 hours of training as a mediator, and I also train and mentor other mediators. So as a coach, what I'm really doing is some people call me the project manager, especially the men, they're like, oh, you're like the coach, you're the project manager, you're the contractor. And the women are typically looking more for, I don't feel strong enough, support me, help me with the wording for my proposal, what should I expect? So what I offer that's different than a lot of divorce coaches, I have legal training, I'm actually mediating with clients, writing all their documents, and then so as a coach, I can offer a range of helping them set expectations, putting proposals together if they're working with another mediator, perhaps planning their exit strategy. A lot of them come to me in that contemplation stage, like, how would this likely turn out? What would my support look like? Do I have to give up my homeschooling? Am I going to have to go back to work? And when I help clients reset their expectations, it takes the fear away. It's just sort of see that fear come out of them like a balloon deflating. They're like, okay, I think I can do this. And I'm not here to decide for them if they should divorce, but I want to help them ask the right questions and find the right resources. I'm like this resource hub. Go talk to this type of therapist. Go talk to this financial analyst. Talk to this lawyer about something. So I'm kind of this confidential place to think out loud. Don't wear your girlfriends out. Don't start telling your mother who tells somebody before you're ready to commit, and excommunicate your husband from your family before you've tried all your other, maybe tried therapy. It's a really wonderful professional and seasoned place to come and get the kind of support to help you make a confidential and really life-critical decision.
I really can see the difference and the help that it gives individuals that need that little extra support to be able to make some of those decisions to get through. I love what you do, and I thank you so much. You're just amazing. You really do help move and make the transition from divorce into really readjusting, redefining the lives of many individuals. And so I appreciate that you've stepped out and you're looking at divorce differently. Divorce was just like in this box.
Right.
This seems like divorce coaches and mediators are stepping out of that a little bit and looking at it a little bit differently, and also keeping in the human aspect of divorce. And I think that's so important because here in Florida, they make it pretty much divorce a no fault. There still seems to capture so much pain within individuals because they just go through the divorce and they're like, bam, we're divorced, that's it. Now what do we do? Transition you're making, it's a little smoother, it's a little bit more thought out, planned, executed. Can you give any words about what you do and that would help them to be able to make a decision to use a mediator or anything like that? What would you say?
Well, I would certainly tell them that think of mediation like you would going to the doctor. You don't start by going to the brain surgeon because you had a headache. You start with getting a basic diagnostic, and then if you need something more than an aspirin, you'll start ramping this up. And mediation should, I think, for everybody, be where you begin. If you can't end here, you can always litigate. It's not like you just wiped out your opportunity to litigate. And the fact-finding mission that happens basically in a mediation where you have disclosures going on, if anything, would facilitate litigation as well. So it's still going to save you money, even if you end up there. When people start with litigation, kind of the shoot first, ask questions later, just hire the attorney and then say, but I'm going to mediate later. You can, but often I find I'm mediating with clients where their biggest argument is over who should pay whose legal fees. I wouldn't have had to spend that if you hadn't done this. And really, it's not even about their parenting plan or about timeshare or about money anymore. It's about who's paying for legal fees. And it's a shame that would become a deadlock when you could have started with the mediation process. So I think the real wisdom is don't assume your divorce is going to be the impossible one and the one that requires litigation. Assume that the right mediator could help you get this done.
Excellent advice. Excellent advice. They want to contact you if they live in the California area and they'd like to contact you about being either mediation or the divorce coaching. How can they contact you?
So easy place to start is right on my website, leavestrong.com, Leave, leavestrong.com. And the nice thing is I offer a 30-minute complimentary consultation, which you can do by phone or Skype, and you can book yourself right from my website. I do long-distance mediations and definitely coaching because I have clients where perhaps they're the military or diplomats or have already done a move away, and one person might be here. They're divorcing in California. However, the spouse is in Virginia or something like that. So I've done those. And I've coaching clients. I'm from Canada. That's where I practice law. So I have coaching clients in Canada, actually all over the place. They usually find me on the internet because challenge most people find is finding a divorce coach with some legal training and legal information that can support them. There's lots of divorce coaches, but they want that kind of background. They seem to be a rather unique commodity. And so I do have clients from all over the place.
Wonderful. It's great the service that you do. You do it with a heart, and I know that, and I think it comes across in your work and how you treat people. And so I appreciate that you show the compassion to individuals that are going through probably some of the toughest times in their life, trying to sort out these very heavy-duty decision-making and then moving forward. So you're really offering them a great deal. And so I appreciate that, Laura.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I really love what I do. It gets me up every day in a ready-to-go space.
Yeah, it definitely comes across like that. Well, we're listening to Laura McGee, and that's McGee, and she is a divorce mediator. She's a divorce coach. She helps people really move through the divorce process and also a little bit before, a little bit after. So she really can meet all of your needs. And she's right there in California. She can help other people through Skype and through various different facilities. So if you live in a different area, not to worry, she can contact with you. And I thank you again, Laura, for being on the show.
Thank you, Cece. It's been a pleasure to be here today.
Well, thank you. Okay, this is Cece with Going Solo, and it's a joy, as always, to have you with us every Tuesday. And we're so glad that you are with us here today. So join us next time. Bye for now.